Johnson heads to the bucket. Layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome everybody. Talking sports with me, Chris Powers. We were snowed in last week. Could not do it because unbelievable record amount of snow. Baton Rouge got snow, up to about 6 inches of snow. In some areas, maybe a little more. Some people are saying 8, but mainly the National Weather Service says 6 inches of snow. New Orleans almost got 10 inches of snow. In some areas, they did. And the record was back in the 1800s with 12 inches of snow. And, Jonathan, I know you living in the New Orleans area, living in Metairie. How crazy was that snow day, huh?
Unbelievable, Chris. Unbelievable.
You know, New Orleans has only recorded 5 times in its history of snow. 5 times. So I had to look and see the record for Miami one time in Miami. Los Angeles hadn't got any either. So, Jonathan, did you and the kids play in the snow?
Of course, Chris. It was the hand of God. Everything was perfect in the backyard. Everything was white. We spent hours in it. Even my 9-year-old was like a duck in the water. It didn't matter that the snow was getting all over his clothes, inside of his clothes, down his boots. He did not want to leave that pillowy greatness. And, yeah, obviously, I've never seen anything like that in New Orleans. It wasn't that slush that we usually get down here when it does snow. This was powder snow like maybe Colorado or somewhere.
Right.
Magical, Chris. It was incredible.
Yeah, and do we have video of you just in your underwear jumping in the water?
Well, you put me on the spot.
Like
if you would have gave me a little time, I would have put something together for you, Chris, but you throw me on the spot.
I love it, man. So we didn't get to do the show last week because obviously all the interstates were closed. Of course, we're here on Talkin Sports TV, which is on Cox Cable, shown in the 89% of the Metro New Orleans area. About over 440,000 here in the Baton Rouge area, 140,000 in the Lafayette area. So we're seen several times a week. We'll talk about that. You go on the sports app, and you can also catch us on as well as on YouTube. All right, let's take a look and see first the NFC Championship, AFC NFC Championship. So much talk about these deals, about these games, referees, Lamar and Allen, all that stuff. We're going to talk about that here in the first segment. Let's go with it. Jaden Daniels had an incredible season. There's no question about that. There's no getting over that. Is it the best ever? Using rating data from Pro Football, approximate value metric using per drive success, Jaden Daniels was the best of all time. He had a 20. Cam Newton had 19. Griffin III, that was his best season ever when he was a rookie. First game that we played against the Saints and he killed us. He had 18 in that rating. Russell Wilson had 16 in his rookie season, and Dak Prescott had 15. Now in his passer rating, Jaden Daniels was 100.1. That's what he finished with, which is 4th best all-time behind Prescott, who finished at 104.9 his rookie season from Mississippi State. Griffin III finished with 102.4, and C.J. Stroud, his magical season last year with the Houston Texans, finished with 100.8. Daniels has to continue to be better because defenses figure you out. Notice Stroud didn't have as much of a great season this year as last season, and notice that, of course, Griffin III really went away. Defenses usually figure you out. Defensive coordinators figure you out. They break the game film down, and Daniels is going to have to grow from that. Will he? I think he will. Now, again, this goes back to them not giving Brian Kelly any credit. Look what Brian Kelly did with Jaden Daniels. Arizona State had potential, but average quarterback. First year at LSU, potential, average quarterback. He didn't trust his receivers. He didn't want to turn the ball over, so he didn't throw the ball down the field. You can see in one clip Brian Kelly yelling at him saying, trust your receivers. Let you throw the ball to your receivers for them to get open. And that second year, Jaden Daniels was absolutely unbelievable. He wins the Heisman Trophy. Nobody gives Kelly any credit for that. And you could see every time Jaden Daniels came off the sideline, Brian Kelly was right there. Same thing now with Nussmeier. As soon as he comes off the field, Kelly's right there in his face, either yelling at him or asking him what did he did. Why did you throw that? That's the same thing that over the years good coaches do with quarterbacks. So the only thing I've got is that Washington needs to build around him. Philly was much better on offense and defense, or more physical football team. Their offensive line is still their bread and butter. You get a good offensive line, and that's the whole thing. That's what Ditka tried to start here in New Orleans, but he just got burnt out. He wanted a good offensive line, and the very next year when he left, the Saints made it to the playoffs. He was building it, and it starts at that offensive and defensive line. That's old school football, and it still rings true today. So Philadelphia wins the NFC Championship. Next week, we'll break down the Super Bowl a little bit better because we'll be the week of the Super Bowl. All right, let's go to the AFC Championship game. The stats were even, Steven. The score showed that again. Passing, Buffalo had 227 yards in total passing. Kansas City had 233. In rushing, 147 for the Bills, 135 for Kansas City. In total offense, the Bills had 374 yards while the Chiefs had 368. But a lot of people are saying the referees blew it. Did they blow it? Let's take a look at the film and let's watch this right now to see if referees blew it. All right, here's live action. This is the first down. We're trying to get a first down. It was on 4th down and 1. And there is Josh Allen. Looks like he's got a first down. From that angle, it looks like he's got a first down. So let's break it down. It was called short, and it was Kansas City first down and 10. So they go to the instant replay. Let's take a look at it here. Right here, Josh Allen does not have the first down. But he keeps pushing and pushing. And right here it comes, still doesn't have the first down. But right here, there he is. His helmet goes past the first down marker. But because of Chris Jones in the way, you can't see where the football is. Big Chris Jones is in the way. But with today's technology, let's take Chris Jones out of the equation and take him out. And this is where we find the football. There. That's about a quarter to the tip past the first down marker. Right there. And it's the camera angle is right down. Chris Jones back in, Chris Jones out. That looks like a first down. Now let's take the first down marker and let's see if it is a first down. Bam. By the quarter of the football, there it is. That's a first down. I can understand where that's questionable right there. But let's take a look at the angle at the top with the big camera that's on the cables that are on every NFL and college stadium now. Here he is right now outlined. So this is after now. It's going to be hard to see if he's got the first down. Looks like he's got it there. But then he gets pushed back, and there's the first down. That's the 40-yard line. That's where they had to get to the first down, the 40-yard line. The ball is clearly past the 40-yard line. That should have been a first down, and the whistles did not blow until he almost touched the ground. But right there you can see that is a first down. The other controversial play was it a reception or was it an interception? All right, this is the next one we're going to look at. So that one right there, that shows you easily. There's the 40-yard line. He's got the first down. That I agree with Buffalo Bill fans who boycotting the Super Bowl, they said, like I did years ago. Now, here's the catch. Was it a catch? Was it an interception? As you know, if a receiver comes down, offensive player, the tie goes to the offensive player. So here is the catch. That's in real time. Let's break it down and go in slow as McDermott throws the red flag, and he challenges it. So here it is. Here's the football. The defender for the Bills has the ball right there against the face mask of the receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs. So right there, that would be, if he had grabbed the ball totally away, that would have been an interception on the football field. But there's a problem with that, as you'll see here in just a moment. So there's Denny Hamlin holding Kelsey, so that interception would not have counted because that was a defensive hold. So let's go back and see if it actually was a reception. The way the NFL rule stipulates that if the thread of the ball moves, then that means it is an incompleted pass. Right here, you can see the thread of the needle, or the thread of the football, I should say, does not move. Only time it moves is on the shoulder of the player of Kansas City. So I can understand at this point, and then the Kansas City receiver wrestles it away from the defender. So I can see where this could be a controversial call. You want to know a really non-call, controversial play? We go back to the NFC Championship with the Rams and the Saints. That was the ball game. The Saints would have went to their second Super Bowl. That was a blatant call. That was horrible. Again, look at it in slow motion. It's not even close. Now, I can understand. I didn't watch the Super Bowl, New England and the Rams, the 2 weeks from that controversial call. Again, and the NFL called Sean Payton immediately after that and said, we messed up. But what does that do? What good is that? I'm not going to the Super Bowl. And that was 1:45 left in the game. Rams had one timeout, which means the Saints would have had first down and goal. They would have run the clock down and kicked the game-winning field goal and would have went to the Super Bowl in Atlanta against the New England Patriots. I can understand that. You talk about, look, I still am not totally over that. I just started watching NFL football again kind of last year. I watched a little bit more this year, but not as much as I used to. Back in the day, before that call, I watched Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. I'd watch the Saints at 12 noon, and then I would watch the game after that. Back then, they didn't have the Thursday night games except for Thanksgiving and a couple of other times, but not many. It wasn't a regular Thursday night game back then. So that right there, I could understand. So I want to get your feeling on that, Jonathan. What are your thoughts first on the first down by Josh Allen? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's really tough, especially in the playoffs, to leave it up to the referees
Right.
on the road. And if you can't gain a yard as a Buffalo Bills, a big offensive line, Josh Allen, one of the best running quarterbacks in the league, certainly one of the biggest, couldn't gain a yard. And look, did I think he actually did cross the 40 to get it? Yes, I do. It didn't help that the referee on the far side of the field came running in with his
Right.
foot marker on one side of the 40, and the near side referee ran up on the other side of the 40. And where does the official spot go? Somewhere in between. Impossible for that guy to see the ball, just like you pointed out with Chris Jones right in the way. So I did not like that call, Chris, but really you put that on the Buffalo Bills. If you can't gain a yard in a crucial point of the game on the road, you cannot leave it up to the officials.
Nope.
So get more creative. They're not doing the Philly tush push. They're doing an old school conventional quarterback sneak, and it was not working. It was stopped on, I think, 3 of the 5 attempts to try to gain more than 1 yard on the quarterback sneak. So put that one absolutely on the Bills, even though I think it might have been a blown call. But that interception, I mean, how can you justify? If anything, it's an incomplete pass. Yes, you would have had the safety blanket in the DeMar Hamlin holding call, which there was another call late in the game where Josh Allen just scrambling for his life, rolls out to the right, throws it up on fourth down. Dalton Kincaid lays out for the ball, goes right between his hands on fourth down. Turnover on dance, but there was a flag ready to go. There was a flag. The announcer said, oh, wait, there's a flag on the field. But when it came to be incomplete, magically the flag was picked up. And there was missed blocks in the back on punt returns. There was a Chief lined up in the neutral zone on one of those quarterback sneak attempts that wasn't called. So, yeah, there's plenty of evidence for the Buffalo Bills to point to say that they got shafted. No one understands that better than the Saints fans. I think that hit on Tommy Lee Jones was a little more egregious, no doubt. And I agree. It was really hard for me to continue to watch the NFL, certainly with the same level of passion as a fan. But, yeah, I had a neighbor ask me, right before the national championship for the college game, who do I like in the college game, then who do I like for the playoffs? I couldn't even pick the NFL games. I don't want to say it's definitely rigged, but that is the overwhelming stench that is coming from the NFL these days. And Roger Goodell has to get a hand on it quick, fast, and in a hurry, or they're going to lose a lot more viewership. Because everybody can kind of see, look, they're tired of the Chiefs winning. They don't need any help from the referees. But when 50-50 calls go against the Chiefs, you're left kind of scratching your head wondering, is this really rigged?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy in that. You talk about behind-the-back blocks and all that stuff. I mean, it is crazy. One we got away with in the Super Bowl, and I love it. When the Saints won the Super Bowl and Porter intercepted Peyton Manning, Will Smith pushed Peyton Manning in the back. Peyton Manning would have made the tackle anyway.
I think Peyton sold that fall. He knew what he did. Yeah,
but that was a block in the back. But we got away with it, thank God. And they said that was the loudest they've ever heard a Super Bowl. It was like a home game. It was so many Saints fans. But anyway, so Josh Allen's 0-4 versus Kansas City in the playoffs. Josh Allen it seems like he just can't take it to that next level. And Lamar Jackson is the same way. Now, Jonathan, I don't know about you, but what you thought about Lamar Jackson. Now, this year, I think Lamar Jackson is definitely a MVP candidate. There's no question. He is, and he's a chance that he might win it. If he wins it, that'll be his third. Drew Brees has none.
Yeah.
That's absolutely unbelievable. Now, I think he deserves it maybe this year.
Right.
But to me, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, both of them, in a way, if we're going to judge to where you can't, like Joe Burrow should have been really the MVP. He had the most yardage, most touchdowns as a passer. If you're going to judge on quarterbacks, he had way better ratings than Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen.
Yep.
Okay, but NFL never gives it to somebody who don't make the playoffs and have a winning record.
Right.
They don't. Baseball does, NBA does, but NFL doesn't. So if you're going to do that, let's wait till after the conference championship to determine who is the MVP. And if that's the case, Lamar Jackson got beat by Josh Allen in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yep.
So bye-bye, Lamar. You're gone. And I have nothing against Lamar Jackson. He's an unbelievable guy. He is a first-class guy. He really is. He's a nice guy. Came over and hugged Josh Allen immediately after that game. He's a first-class guy. But they both remind me of John Elway. John Elway carried his football team for so many years into the Super Bowl until he got Terrell Davis and had a good running game. That's when he won his 2 championships in a row. And he wouldn't have won that, like Dan Marino didn't have enough, Everyone today will tell you, Joe Montana will tell you, Mahomes said that watching game film, that right now, if Dan Marino was playing in this league, he'd have 6,000 yards passing with all the rules and not touching the quarterback and all that stuff. He'd have 6,000 yards in passing in one season. That guy was unbelievable. Everybody said he had the quickest release and the most accurate passer you ever saw. Joe Montana admitted that. So going back to those guys, Josh Allen he's had the receivers and the running backs to where he should have gotten to the Super Bowl. I was pulling for them to get to the Super Bowl. I really was, because I thought they would have been big. For Buffalo fans, the Mafia, they would have been big for New Orleans. It all came down like crazy. And I think the NFL would have watched. The people would have watched a lot. If Lamar Jackson couldn't run, he'd be holding a clipboard by now. There's no question, because as a pocket passer, he's not there. He had his best season this year. He had 4,172 yards in passing and 915 yards in rushing. That's pretty special. I could see that where he'd be an MVP candidate. But for his others, I just didn't see it. I really didn't. He was 6th in passing this year and tied for 2nd in touchdowns and a quarterback rating of 77.2. I just told you what we had Jaden Daniels' quarterback was over 100. And his quarterback rating is 77.2. And for his career, he has 20,059 yards in total passing. I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. In rushing, he has 6,173 yards, 33 touchdowns in 7 seasons. I think the other 2 MVPs are questionable. In 2019, he had 3,127 yards in passing. Drew Brees easily passes that. He had 1,206 yards in rushing, and that's pretty impressive. That's 36 touchdowns in passing, but only 7 in rushing. In 2023, last year when he won the title, or the MVP award for the 23 season, he had 3,678 yards in passing. Again, not over 4,000, 821 yards in rushing. 24 touchdown passes, and 5 rushing touchdown passes. He should have won the MVP award. Again, I just think that if we're going to award the MVP, that you should do it after. Jonathan, your thoughts. Should it be, right now they said the 2 big ones are Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Which one do you think should win the MVP award?
Oh, out of those 2, and it's really tough, Chris, because you mentioned it. Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs already, and this is his best passing year as a pro. So if you're going by those metrics, then I believe Lamar Jackson is going to win the MVP. If I was voting after watching those couple playoff games for the Eagles, Saquon Barkley is unbelievable. He's playing out of his mind. Got over 2,000 yards this year, has been carrying the offense on his back, busting 60-plus yard runs.
And made it to the Super Bowl.
You can hand it off once and get to Saquon Barkley. He's going to score a touchdown. It took the Commanders 18 plays for the opening drive to come away with 3 points, and it took 1 handoff for Saquon Barkley to go 62 yards for a touchdown. My vote is Saquon Barkley. That kid is playing absolutely crazy football right now.
I agree. And like I said, makes it to the Super Bowl. And if we're going to change the Heisman and we're going to change the MVP award to all quarterbacks, then we might as well just have their own separate award. Because that's automatically we think of the quarterback's going to win the award.
Right.
And you brought up a great point. Saquon Barkley has an unbelievable season. This guy could be in the best running back category in the top 5 of all time.
Yep, I agree.
And he makes it to the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't he be the MVP? I hope he does. I'm like you. I totally forgot about that. I hope that Saquon Barkley wins the MVP award because he definitely deserves it. And he's in the Super Bowl. And let's not forget, in week 3 of the NFL season, he came to play the Saints and had an unbelievable game in the Superdome where he's coming in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I'm like you. I agree. But for me, it looks like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are not those quarterbacks like the John Elway who didn't have much talent in those Super Bowls he went to. and he carried the team on his back to get him there.
Yeah, let me ask you something, Chris, because I think you're right. I mean, the majority of people I talked to out there wanted to see the Bills make the Super Bowl over the Chiefs. Now, here's my question. Do the Swifties have the NFL in a chokehold?
Yeah.
That they have to have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Do they really think that the Swifties are moving the needle that much on the ratings? To me, I can't believe that. There's enough Swifties out there that are watching football on their own with their moms, so that's going to move the needle enough that you need the Chiefs to be in the Super Bowl. What do you think? Is that any validity to that rumor that the Swifties have the NFL in a chokehold?
Yeah, the ratings have gone up because of that, and there's a lot of Swifties that are watching. And I'm kind of shocked that she is not performing the halftime show. I really thought she'd be performing the halftime show in New Orleans. And Goodell and her were talking at the Super Bowl in Vegas last year. Word is she wanted money to do that show. But as you know, in the history of all the halftime shows, they do not give money out because they say you're going to get big-time record sales after this the next day that it's over. The NFL's never paid anybody for doing the halftime show. And word is that she wanted money to do that. Me personally, and I'm not a Swiftie, I mean, I thought she did great when she first started, and I've met her twice, and I've got an opinion about her. I won't say it here. But to me, I'm tired of watching that, I am sick of watching Taylor Swift's picture on the tube every time Kelsey catches the football. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about in the next segment, but I am so tired of that. Are you Taylor Swift?
No, Chris, I'm so burnt out on it that I'm starting to wonder, is this Kansas City Chiefs team the most unlikable team in the history of the NFL?
Yeah.
Now with Patrick Mahomes flopping on the sidelines, getting every call when you breathe on him wrong.
Yep.
But now you have Travis Kelce able to sprint to the end zone after his quarterback ran for a touchdown, get in the face of the defense doing all this,
right,
and
no
when
call.
a guy comes and bumps him, he does the LeBron flop, and, of course, that's 15 more yards. It's so hard to pull for the Chiefs on top of, showing Taylor Swift every time there's a first down catch. I'm over it. I think the rest of America's over it, and I just can't understand the affinity with watching the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yep, I agree 100%. 100%. When we come back, we're going to talk about Super Bowl 59 matchup. I'm not going to break it down too much. We'll do that next week. We'll look at the Superdome and New Orleans, Louisiana, gearing up for their big Super Bowl. We'll do that when we come back. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Jonathan's here in the house. Marty's in the house. We'll do that when we come back right after this timeout right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
All right, welcome back, everybody, here to Talkin' Sports with me, Chris Powers. And Super Bowl 59 is set in New Orleans, of course. And it's part 2, Kansas City versus Philadelphia, part 2. They played in the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Super Bowl 57, it was in Arizona. Kansas City won that game 38-35 with 8 seconds left. Kansas City kicked a 27-yard field goal to win the game. So if it's going to be that close, that's going to be a great Super Bowl. Should be fun. Remember Mahomes injured his ankle in that AFC playoffs that year. Now, he played in the AFC championship game, but he was taken out of the game because of the fact that he had that injured ankle. He didn't want to come out of the game. He was mad. He threw his helmet off all over the place. But he had a 27-yard scramble in that fourth quarter and threw 2 touchdowns for them to win late. So some fans are saying they're bored with Kansas City and the Taylor Swift effect, and I see you. I am the same way. And Jonathan just said that same situation to that. I'm assuming you're going to still watch the Super Bowl, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, same thing with me. I will too. And, I go back to 2 things. Michael Jordan, when he was in the NBA, they talked about him so damn much. I got tired. I hated it. I didn't like him. I was pulling for Utah and Karl Malone, the Mailman Malone, to win the NBA championship, the world title. I want him to win a world title because he's a Louisiana guy from up north. I want him to win. And then same thing with Tiger Woods. I was a Phil Mickelson fan. Every single time I watch Tiger Woods, he could be a plus 12, and they're showing every shot, shoving it down our throat. Only after both of them retired, well, Tiger Woods is still doing it, but let's face it, he's retired. But anyway, I appreciate them more now with they're out of the limelight like they are. Now, I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I think Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Greatest athlete? No. But I think he's the greatest player of all time. If I had to put a greatest athlete, I don't know. I mean, people say Muhammad Ali. I don't believe so. He lost. Other people say this and that. If you want to put that together, let's put Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson was dominant in football and pretty good, damn good in baseball. So that's who I would maybe go with. Even Deion Sanders was decent in baseball. Was okay. But in football, I don't think he was the best corner cover back like they all say, but I don't think so. He couldn't tackle worth crazy, but anyway. But I think that maybe I'm going to watch it for sure. And in fact, I'm going on that Saturday before the Super Bowl. Next Saturday, we're going to go walk around. My brother and my sister are coming in. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law are coming in too. We want to walk around and look at the festivities and all the things that are going. We're going to go in the football, game time experience in the Memorial Convention Center. I'm going to do all that stuff, walk around, get some beads. And Jonathan, this is pretty cool. In the NFL gift shop, they have a hat you can buy. It's expensive, though, but it's pretty cool to watch. It's like $50, I think. So you can get a hat of your favorite team, and you can put whatever logo on it. Like I'm going to put Super Bowl 44 on the logo for the Saints. I'm going to put that logo right there. And then on the side, they stitch your name in it on the side, which is right on the spot. And you pick it up within 5 minutes later, and it's pretty cool to do that. And they've got all the kind of NFL stuff in there, but it's expensive, I'll tell you that. The gloves they wear, the receiver gloves they wear and stuff, that thing is expensive. I think it was like $45, $50, and I'm not paying $45, $50 for no damn receiver gloves. But anyway, it's very nice. So if you go to their Memorial Convention Center, you're going to love it. I don't know if you have to. I know I didn't pay to get in for the NFL shop the last time the Super Bowl was here in 2013, but it may be that way now. And if you pay a little extra money, well, I think it's $65, you get a picture of the Lombardi Trophy. You get to see all the Super Bowl rings from past, and you get an autograph from an NFL player. Any NFL player that is there at the time you go, you get to get an NFL. You get to get the autograph. Whatever you want, you can get it for free. But you're paying a little extra, of course, and I don't pay for anybody's autograph. I just don't. That's just me. But I understand people that are not watching for sure. Like I said, I didn't watch Super Bowl 53 because of the no call for the Saints. I went to movies, and so I wouldn't be tempted to watch it. That's the only Super Bowl of my lifetime that I missed. I never missed a Super Bowl. In all my years, I never missed a Super Bowl. That was the first one I ever missed. Once again, I think it's great, and I think it's going to be great for the city of New Orleans. I know, Jonathan, you're in there all the time. I went to New Orleans yesterday, and I think still working on the French Quarter with some streets and what have you. They're closing streets down, and it's aggravating as hell and stuff like that. All the things around Poydras looks great. They got the tents up, the permanent tents up there that looks great. And again, remember, you can go on Poydras, and near that area, but you can't get in Champion Square if you don't have a Super Bowl ticket. You have to have a Super Bowl ticket to get in. There's going to be parties inside the Smoothie King Arena, but you have to have tickets for that to get on in. Jonathan, you can afford that. It's only $5,500 a ticket. That's a piece of cake for you. That's like me buying a piece of gum.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, the reason I'm going to watch is because of the Superdome and the city of New Orleans, and I'm very anxious to see how people think about the Superdome. You and I were talking off air. I think the concourse area needs to add some things like artwork and what have you. And like you said, there's plenty of artwork in New Orleans. You go down Pirates Alley and all around the French Quarter, there's tons of artists there with all kinds of different paintings around the New Orleans area. So I think that needs to be in there. But I also think that it's going to be cool to see the Super Bowl again in New Orleans. By the way, it's the 11th time, which ties the record with Miami. However, the Superdome has had the most Super Bowls with 8 than any other stadium in the NFL by far. So, and I don't know if you saw that yesterday, Jonathan, where Republican legislators are filing a petition that they want to continue to see these thugs, I guess they're saying, of doing halftime shows. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
I don't think it's going to hurt Louisiana's chance for getting another Super Bowl. Again, when Gail Benson got honored by the New Orleans Sports Foundation, that Goodell came in to help and honor her, and the guy who takes care of all the Super Bowls came in, and they both were like, wow. They really did a great job in New Orleans. I think the Superdome in the field area is great. It's still the largest structure, the largest arena supported by steel in the world. It's still that big. But I think that they need to add a few things here and there to it, like we said. But other than that, that Superdome looks beautiful right now. And I'll have the drone picture of it next week, the drone video that goes through it. And we'll maybe have even more video of that. But I'm proud of that Superdome. And, Jonathan, after Katrina, I was like, tear it down. Tear it down. It's done. Tear it down. Let's build a new stadium and what have you. I've always been a big fan of the Superdome, and I'm even a bigger fan now. I'm glad they didn't tear it down. I thought after Katrina and all the people were in there, the 30,000 people, I thought it was just done. But I personally love the Superdome still.
Yeah, and Chris, I have mixed emotions. Personally, I was affected by all the renovations for a very long time in my family and the Saints' history. My family had 8 season tickets all the way through, when they were playing games at Tiger Stadium for Katrina and the whole deal. And when they came back, we were there for Steve Gleason's blocked field goal, the NFC Championship, a lot of great games, a lot of great memories. Then they started doing all these renovations and totally took out Section 555 of the Superdome. Of course, they had 4 seats that belonged to the Poches, so they've been going. So, yeah, mixed emotions. I think it looks great now. Ms. Benson put a lot of her own money into the renovations. Of course, the state and the city put up money, too. So it is vastly improved. Everything is smoother. You go from the concessions to the bathrooms lines. There's TVs up in the concourse everywhere. Everything looks fresh and clean and really nice. So, looking forward to having New Orleans on the big spotlight. Obviously, a great city to host a game. So convenient to the airport. So much life and exciting things to do downtown right outside the Superdome. So it's going to be great for tourism, obviously. Not looking forward to Philly fans being in New Orleans. I heard somebody describe it like that's putting Mentos in a 2-liter Diet Coke. Getting these Philly fans all juiced up on bourbon, then letting them roam around without leashes is something you got to be really worried about. On top of Roger Goodell, and I saw somebody say that man better bring a fishing pole. He's got to catch it whatever he eats for dinner. He's not going to be able to go into any restaurant and get served.
Right.
And, no love lost between the fans of the Saints and Roger Goodell. But nobody hosts events like New Orleans.
No.
The hospitality is just different down here.
Yeah.
We want to see you have a good time. We appreciate you being here. We want your money. So we'll treat you right. Hope you come back next time. So, yeah, I am looking forward to seeing New Orleans on the spotlight. Hope it all goes according to plan. No blackouts, please.
Yeah.
No, keep all the power on. Don't have any hiccups.
Yeah.
And it'll all be good.
I know, same thing I thought of, but they already worked on that yesterday. They were working on that yesterday to make sure this time it doesn't happen. Security will be all over the place. Every time the Super Bowl comes, they use every federal agency, state agency, city agency, parish agencies from all over the state. You'll see more. It'll be the safest place, safest time in New Orleans. Go walk around, enjoy yourself. It'll be that great. And what makes New Orleans great, unique, 20,000 hotel rooms within walking distance of the Superdome. And which I didn't realize that. To me, I feel it's longer. I guess you go all the streets and what have you. But did you know that the Superdome is a mile away from Bourbon Street?
I didn't even think it was a whole mile. I think it's a little bit less than a mile.
I know it is, and
Yeah.
I was shocked. I thought it's longer than that.
Yep.
But no, the way you walk through it, if you leave right there from Poydras and right there off that, you get right there to Bourbon Street and what have you. That's what makes New Orleans great. I hope, look, they gave the city of Los Angeles a Super Bowl that quick.
Yep.
I hope New Orleans gets that as well. The next few Super Bowls, next year it'll be in San Francisco for Super Bowl 60. 10 years ago they hosted the Super Bowl. And then after that's back in L.A. So once again, I hope that we get it that quick. And then after that's in Atlanta. They have announced that. And then with that being said, after that, then after Atlanta, look for it to be possibly Las Vegas. I don't think Nashville's going to have their stadium ready by then. And so the early forecast, it looked like that New Orleans is going to get another massive Arctic front coming in. But now they've changed the forecast. Now it's in the 70s. Lows will be in the 50s because the lows are going to be in the 35, 34 mark. I don't know if the front's moving in later or if it's going to come in, if it's not going to come in at all. But that's the good news with that. So it should be pretty nice weather, especially on that 42% chance of rain right now. But we all know Louisiana weather. You can't do it that far in advance. Right now is a 42% chance of rain on Saturday. Sunday looks like a very little chance of rain with partly sunny skies. So partly cloudy skies with more of sun. So it should be pretty good with that. All right, so Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans ought to be fun. We'll have more on it next week. We'll break the game down next week and tell you who we think is going to win. Who's going to win the Saints head coaching job? We'll find out when we come back as we talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan DeMarty in the group right here on Pelican Sports TV.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, Jonathan in the house, Marty in the house. And, Jonathan, I got a question for you. A lot of people are wanting to know. The Saints are the last to pick their head coaches, and people are wanting to know why is the deal. They thought it was Joe Brady. That was the reason why they were waiting so late. Nobody knows except for Mickey Loomis and Joe Brady if Joe Brady was seriously considered for the job. I'm still not sold on Joe Brady. Offensive coordinator, I think so, but not head coach-wise. And we're going to look at the candidates and what have you. But it's weird that they're waiting this long. But, Jonathan, it's not out of the question. Do you know how many times this is going to be that the Saints will be hiring a coach around when the time they host the Super Bowl? Take a guess.
4.
Close. This will be their 5th.
Wow.
This will be their 5th. Mike, let's go back and let's look at it all. 1970 Super Bowl VI, J.D. Roberts was announced the Super Bowl week. He signed right after. 1978 Super Bowl 12, Dick Nolan was announced as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Super Bowl 15, 1981, Bum Phillips was announced as the head coach, and the national media was going crazy. It's like New Orleans knows the national media is coming. Let's create, I know they're excited about the game, but let's create some other excitement here in New Orleans with our team, the Saints. How about Super Bowl 20, 1986? Jim Mora was announced as head coach. Super Bowl 31, this is the one I remembered. I didn't remember the Mora, I didn't remember the other ones. Super Bowl 31, 1997, Mike Ditka was announced as the Green Bay Packers beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. And now, Super Bowl 59 in 2025. Who's going to be picked? Will it be announced this week? I doubt it. Will it be announced next week? Good chance. I think they'll announce it by at least by next week. But when the national media is coming in, that's a good chance that may happen.
Wow.
Now, when you're looking at it, they went yesterday and talked to Kellen Moore in Philadelphia. Supposedly they flew to Philadelphia to talk to Kellen Moore about being the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I don't know about what you think. Here's the candidates that we have right now. Mike Kafka from New York Giants, offensive coordinator. Nope. I don't want him.
Yeah, no, me neither.
I really don't. Anthony Weaver, Miami defensive coordinator.
Nope.
I don't want him.
Nope.
We just had Dennis Allen coached in Oakland. We understand that. But come on. He didn't have a good – I don't want another Dennis Allen here. We don't need that. Darren Rizzi, Saints interim coach, it never works in the National Football League. This is not Coach O in college football. I don't want to see Darren Rizzi. I know he's popular. He's energetic. He chews the players out. I understand that. They fear him, and that's what you want. If the team buys into the coach, that's the whole battle right there. Mike McCarthy of Dallas, Super Bowl winning coach. Yeah, and he's been to another Super Bowl, and he didn't do well with Dallas, but we all know the Jerry Jones thing. Jerry Jones is the new Al Davis. Jerry Jones will continue to continue to be the general manager and owner until he dies. He just came out and said it. There were rumors that Jerry Jones was going to sell the team to foreign investors. That's not going to happen. I knew that was going to happen. Jerry Jones is going to keep the team. Kellen Moore, Philadelphia offensive coordinator. I just don't think the players would fear him. I just don't. And Cliff Kingsbury, we already know. That was the problem. They said that was happening in Arizona, Washington OC. He's a great offensive coordinator, but he doesn't put any fear into the players. He's too much of a nice guy. I think that'd be the same problem with Kellen Moore. Jonathan, I don't know who you want. There's two guys I wouldn't mind having, and one is Mike McCarthy, and the other one is John Gruden. I don't think John Gruden's going to be there. I don't think he's going to be the coach. I'm picking Mike McCarthy, and I know that's not a home run hit, but that's who I would rather see out of those people that we named. Those are the last candidates. The NFL seems to agree with me and says that they think Mike McCarthy's job to lose in New Orleans. What say you?
Well, Chris, first off, I'm going to call you the spin doctor. What an incredible positive spin you've put on this coaching search for the New Orleans Saints. See, I've been reading the headlines. No one can convince me that Aaron Glenn wasn't going to be the next new head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
Early on in the process, I was reading from multiple sources who I trust that were saying it's a done deal, just waiting to make it official, dot some I's and cross some T's. And then it comes out that Aaron Glenn suggested that the Saints move on from Mickey Loomis as a stipulation in his contract. The New Orleans Saints were unwilling to do that, and now Aaron Glenn's the coach of the New York Jets. Okay, Joe Brady, not that I was really sold, right, that Joe Brady was going to be the next Sean Payton here in New Orleans.
Right.
Joe Brady does have history with the Saints. He's a young, very energetic coach where the Saints fans already have a kind of connection with him. He was at LSU, the 2019 championship. He comes out and says, no thanks. Now, Mickey Loomis, in his press conference to the whole world, said in his answer to why would someone value this New Orleans Saints head coaching job, Mickey Loomis said, because it's one of 32 jobs.
Right.
Well, you've seen Joe Brady now turn down a head coaching gig to stay. And like you said, there's no true evidence that he was going to be New Orleans 1, 2, or 3 top candidate. But he chooses not to. Publicly tells the world, I'd rather be an offensive coordinator for the Bills than be the head coach for the Saints. Okay. Then you move on to Kellen Moore, Cliff Kingsbury, the guy from the Miami Dolphins, the guy from the Giants. I'm not even going to bother learning their names because the Giants and the Dolphins have not done a real good job of being productive on the field. whoever gets this head coaching job for the Saints has to understand that next year is not going to be any better. You're not going to go from a 5-win team to a 12-win team just because you draft a couple players in the second and third rounds of the NFL draft that kind of pan out. Not that the New Orleans Saints have a really good history of the second and third round picks panning out, but that's regardless. I digress. The next coach is going to have to understand it's going to take at least 1, probably 2 years to now see the return upon investment. You have to draft well, and those draftees have to be able to develop a couple years in the NFL because, I mean, we've seen experience wins championships. The Chiefs, they have continuity that no other team in the NFL has. They have a quarterback, a tight end, a defensive tackle, and a safety that have been there almost the entire time for this dynastic run that the Chiefs have been on. The New Orleans Saints are about to lose Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, the Honey Badger. That's really your 3 key leaders, and they are only getting older by the day. So it's going to be a long process, Chris.
And the dead money. I don't necessarily see him that far away only because of the fact, look what happened the first 2 weeks. However, that window is closing immensely, and Mickey Loomis is still using it as we're going to the Super Bowl next year.
Right.
Kicking the can down the road, and that's why it's not an attractive job, because they keep kicking the can down the road. They have so much dead money, it's not even funny. And that's what we're going to eventually have to rebuild. You can't get away from it. Because of the dead money and restructuring contracts, we again lead the NFL in dead money and what have you. So that's what I see, and that's why I don't think the Saints are an attractive job. I wish it would be different, but that's the way it is. And unfortunately, I hate that, and that's absolutely sucks. All right, moving on now to basketball. LSU Lady Tigers, man alive. I watched that South Carolina game. I'm just so tired of that 17 straight. I'm so sick of seeing LSU women's basketball losing to South Carolina. But give it, hey, Coach Dawn Staley, she's a real deal. She's not only a good coach, but she's a great recruiter, period. I think LSU possibly in women's basketball might have the 3rd best team in the SEC behind USC and Texas. They go to Texas next month. February 15th, something like that. They go to Texas. LSU plays, it's February 16th. I've got it right here, February 16th. LSU is second in scoring at 87.8 points per ball game, 4th in field goal percentage at 47%, and point differential, they're plus 25.9. Texas is number 1, LSU's number 2. LSU in both offensive and defensive rebounds, number 1. But the problem is, in games like that count against USC, they started the first quarter at 50%. And Jonathan, you and I could have hit better in the second and third quarter, I think.
Yep.
Second quarter, they had 15% of their shots go in. 15%. Yep. In the third quarter, 25%. And in the fourth quarter, right at 29%. For the game, they shot 30%. It's the same old. They started out on fire, hitting every shot. And then just like the Angel Reese-led teams, they can't hit a bucket to save their lives, period. And I thought Kim Mulkey would change that. So I'm beginning to wonder, Jonathan, hadn't Iowa beat South Carolina in that semifinal game a couple of years ago, would LSU win the national title that year?
If you're asking my personal opinion, no, I don't think so. South Carolina has a mental edge over LSU right now. 17 in a row is incredibly hard to do, Chris. You understand that, especially in the SEC, especially with the caliber of these two teams. But 17 times in a row, South Carolina was able to execute better, play better defense, and score in the transition. And, I am not a huge fan of Coach Dawn Staley. But if you talk about 10 McDonald's All-Americans on one roster in college women's basketball in the age of NIL and the transfer portal, she is doing a lot of things right down in South Carolina.
And they had a chance to beat them like crazy because South Carolina hit 37%. We saw a lot of missed shots from both basketball teams. South Carolina only had 7% better shooting than LSU did. LSU had a shot to win that damn game. I don't know if I can watch another LSU or South Carolina game. I just don't think. I think they have a good shot of making to the SEC tournament again, the championship.
Yeah.
But Texas is going to be hard to beat over in Austin. They got to go to Austin, Texas, on February 16th. That'll be a great game. When we come back, the college football team values was released by the Wall Street Journal. You might be shocked on this list. We'll have that coming back as we talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
If you're a wing lover like me, you already know where the best and biggest wings in Baton Rouge are. TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10. But did you know they also provide some of the best catering in town? Yeah. Their catering packages are custom built for parties and tailgates and overflowing with the tastiest barbecue you can find. Whether you go with the MVP package, the Heisman, or the Natty, you can't go wrong with TJ Ribs because it's not just jumbo wings. They serve up truly tender beef brisket, perfectly roasted pulled pork, and smoky fall-off-the-bone baby back ribs. Don't forget the savory sausage and chopped beef. Come on down to TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10, proud sponsors of the LSU Tigers and the Southern University Jaguars.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
All right, that Greystone Golf Club, it is a very nice golf course. I played there when it first opened up, and they still had the roughs were too high, and people were complaining about it because it was like a pro course. But I loved it. I don't gripe and complain about it. I love the challenge. And also, get this, Marty, that if you hit your ball in the woods and you go to find your ball, because it was a new development, they had tons of snakes in the woods. You had a chance of getting snake bitten. But it's a very beautiful golf course. God, that's a pro golf course, man. It's beautiful. They keep those greens and all that. The fairways, beautiful. Of course, talking sports with me, Chris Powers, seen 5 times a week, Tuesdays at 11, Thursdays at 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Fridays at 9 p.m. and Saturdays at 8:30. Seen 5 times a week, and we're seen in 89% of the Metro Baton Rouge area, Metro New Orleans area, almost 400,000 in the Baton Rouge area and 140,000 Lafayette. Also seen in Morgan City. You can download the app and the YouTube page as well. College football teams valued was released by the Wall Street Journal this week. This includes revenues, cash flows, and sustainability. Jonathan, are you ready?
Lay it on me.
Number 1, Ohio State. That's no surprise.
Yep.
$1.957 billion it's worth. They've made 6 college football playoffs. That's third on the list, behind Alabama and Clemson. Texas at number 2 as far as worth, $1.897 billion. They made it to 2 college playoffs, 2 in a row, last year and this year. Michigan Wolverines at $1.655 billion. They made it to 3 college football playoff games, and 3 in a row. This year they missed, but the streak was broken at 3 in a row. They won the national championship last season. The Georgia Bulldogs at number 4 at $1.348 billion. They made it to 4 college football playoffs, won the national championship in 21 and 22. Notre Dame comes in at number 5 with a value of $1.293 billion with 3 college football playoffs, I should say. So I'm not shocked by that top 5, Jonathan, at all.
No, strong top 5.
So where does LSU fit on the bill? Number 6. LSU comes in at $1.06 billion. They won the 2019 season national championship. Of course, it was in 2020. Penn State right behind them at 7th at $1.027 billion. This year was their first year making the college football playoff. The reason I'm putting their college playoffs in there is because you can see the value of money. Does it mean you're going to go to more college football playoffs? So right there you see LSU at number 6. Tennessee is at number 8 at $1.017 billion. Texas A&M at 9. Never been to the college world to the college football playoff. They're at $1.001 billion. Texas A&M, number 9. Oklahoma is at number 10, $881 million. That's how much they're worth. So 9 of the top 10 are over $1 billion worth. What's missing from that top 10 list, John?
No Alabama.
No Alabama. Alabama comes in at number 11 with $846 million. That's how much they're worth. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Mike the Tiger needs to let me hold something. 1 point what billion? Dang.
In the billion, that's right. Right at 1.1, it was $1.06 billion.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. I thought Alabama would be way ahead of LSU. They're not. LSU is not far. I mean, they're $900 million away from Ohio State, but they're not far from Notre Dame, and they're not far from Georgia. So they're right there. But Alabama at number 11 shocked me. Auburn was number 12 at $843 million. Florida came in at $793 million at 13th. And everybody says that Ole Miss, that Lane Kiffin would never leave Ole Miss. He's got all the resources he's got right there. Where do you think Ole Miss came in?
15th.
15th. How about 30th?
Wow.
They're worth $411 million.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
And that comes from the Wall Street Journal this year, and that's probably last year's fiscal year. So that kind of shocked me right there. That really shocked me. A couple of other things going on. Nick Saban made some news, on the Ryan Clark's podcast.
Yeah, the pivot.
That was interesting in itself when he says that his biggest professional regret was leaving LSU.
Yep. That's
100% right. He said that for years. That's nothing new. He said that for years. He explained the story, what happened when he was at Coach Bertman's office.
Right.
And when his agent, Tom Sexton, says, do you want to be Lombardi or do you want to be Bear Bryant? He said Bear Bryant, but he went to Miami anyway. He said he regrets that. How many championships would he want at LSU? That would be unbelievable. Then also he said that Drew Brees didn't go to Miami because he failed the physical, but Drew Brees and Sean Payton said, not so far. We came in because we felt that we could rebuild New Orleans and help rebuild New Orleans, my wife and I. That's why I came. I was waiting to see if Sean Payton said his, Saban said his. I was waiting to see what was the real story from Drew Brees.
Right.
Drew Brees confirmed it on the Stephen Colbert show.
Yep.
And he confirmed it and said, yeah, I was coming to New Orleans before I got the word about Miami. So he was coming to New Orleans. Will this new coach bring that kind of magic into the Saints like they did in 05? I hope so. I really hope so. Well, that'll be it. We'll break down the Super Bowl next week. I'll show you that beautiful drone footage from the Superdome. We'll have more stories about the Super Bowl next week. Big time. The Super Bowl kickoff big party is Monday for the press conferences on the floor of the Superdome. Ought to be a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that all next week. All right here as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, and we're seeing every single week right here on the great Pelican Sports TV right here on Cox Cable. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the block.